Hello and welcome back, guys, to the MPGL Season 6 Southeast Asian Qualifiers. Yes, MPGL does stand for Mineski Pro Gaming League, if you are wondering. It is game number 2 between MSI-EvoGT Trick and Awake. Awake, they took game number 1 rather convincingly, I have to say, faltering a little bit, but still then coming back strong. And well, we are in the draft. My name is Coucher and I am joined by Whiplash.
Hello everybody, once again. Welcome to game number 2. Yeah, basically just like you said, Couchor, Awake, they pretty much had control over the majority of the game. There were only a few small points where MSI looked like they had a fighting chance of actually taking the match. But we're moving into game number 2 in this best of 2 series, so we'll have to go ahead and see if MSI can pull something out of their bag to grab a victory. I don't feel like they played particularly bad, aside from a few misclicks, aka Sand King burrow striking, after using his epicenter into absolutely no one or nowhere importance. But beyond that, I think if MSI gets a better draft, then they certainly will have a much more of a fighting chance when it comes to this game.
Yeah, they most certainly should, at least. And the draft, it's taking already some time. Awake. They're in the reserve time, 1 minute 15 seconds left. So actually just deciding on the bans already seems to be a little bit harder here. I mean, like you said, MSI, it's not like they play too bad overall. So, Awake, if they just give MSI a small opening draft-wise, MSI might just easily grab it and take it for themselves.
Yeah, I'm actually a little curious as to why MSI banned out the Razor first. But I suppose they just do not want to play against it. And look at that, some big heroes getting picked up in the first stages. They took a while to ban out the first 3 heroes, but it seems like that time was used just to kind of figure out exactly what heroes they wanted to grab. Awake, they go with the first pick Brewmaster, while over on MSI's end, they get that Faceless Void Skywrath Mage combination, which is extremely deadly. You know, you put down that Chronosphere, you use the Mystic Flare, you pretty much have a guaranteed kill on any hero in the game.
Yeah, and to be honest, the picks came out so damn just lightning speed almost compared to the bans. And well, Brewmaster, I mean, it's such a logical pick to go for Skywrath Mage to counter that. And all Awake, they do have themselves the Earthshaker once again. It worked out pretty well last time, and Earthshaker overall, to me it feels like that hero has a pretty high win rate, to be honest, at least from the games I've been seeing the past couple of weeks now. And the only positive, or negative rather, for Awake and positive for MSI is that both the Earthshaker and the Brewmaster are melee heroes after all, so they might just be clumped up for Faceless Void to get a beautiful chrono off.
Yeah, as far as Awake though, they still have that Apparition that they could pick up to combine with the Earthshaker like they did in match number 1. I think that's a very smart ban from MSI and a very smart third pick from Awake. It's in my opinion one of the best heroes to complement the Faceless Void or really hurt him. And yeah, MSI smartly, they ban out that hero. So following the Ancient Apparition ban, they do pick up the Viper. And that's giving him a little bit more tankiness, another ranged hero that kind of combined well with the Faceless Void. The Viper does have a pretty solid amount of range on him. And Awake, they say, you know what, if you want to fight us in close quarters, then we'll go ahead and pick up that Lich and kind of, you know, throw a little bit of, you know, that damage right back at you.
Yeah, why not that? Well, Lich overall is a pretty damn strong hero as well, just the laning phase already, especially if it should be a Trilane versus Trilane situation. Just having the sacrifice all the time, denying so much XP to your enemy, and having the constant Frost Blast as well thanks to the sacrifice giving you mana. It is definitely hard to go up against it. Oh, MSI, they pull out a Chen!
Ooh, this is a hero that used to be extremely popular, you know, a year or 2 ago. He fell off a little bit, but MSI, I think with this pickup here, they're looking to get some early towers. They definitely have a full-on aggression at this point. Awake, they pick up the Morphling, which is a little bit more of a farming carry. It really starts to shine in the later stages of the game when he picks up his Lincoln Sphere, when he gets that Ethereal Blade. So if Awake can get through those later stages, I do think they have a very scary lineup. But I mean, MSI are still okay as far as the late game is concerned with the Faceless Void pickup, especially in combination with the Skywrath, but that Chen will fall off in those later stages.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely the pressure on MSI. Of course, with their 5th pick, I guess they can go for a really like late game core themselves. Although having the Chen, you definitely want to end it earlier, and like you said, Skyrift Mage starts falling off as well. So Awake, I mean, I do love that if you go for a Morphling or a late game carry that does require that little bit of extra farm, you're picking up other heroes that can actually fight early on rather well. Earthshaker, of course, just setting up kills with the rotating. Lich, just pretty damn decent magic nuke, and Brewmaster, of course, just popped that ultimate and completely disrupt the team fight. So the space creators are already there for them as well, so I like that about them.
Yeah, I think MSI needs to just kind of go early all in, heavy push, heavy team fight with their lineup. They have too many heroes that kind of fall off at the later stages. And looking at Awake, they have some really solid team fight when it comes to the mid and late game stages of the game. Brewmaster's good early on to provide some space as well for Morphlings, so we will see the Centaur as the final ban coming over from MSI. And Ember Spirit, a hero that Awake doesn't really want to deal with. That would definitely give him some later game potential, but ooh, they pick up that Gyrocopter as their final pick, so that does give them a good amount of late game. Another ranged hero to kind of complement their lineup when helping out Faceless Void, and that call down, even more nuke damage to anybody that's unfortunate enough to get stuck in this Chronosphere. So I feel like the pressure's really on this Faceless Void. If he can get some insane Chronos down, lock 3, maybe even 4 people into one Chronosphere, then MSI will easily have to fight one for them, but if they don't do that, well, they're going to be in a lot of trouble when it comes to the later stages.
Yeah, they certainly are, and actually, one thing for MSI is that having a Chen, usually I would love to see some additional push as well, because Chen himself might not actually be able to provide enough. Although Awake so far, it's not like they have the best counter pushing lineup at all. I mean, they have nothing as far as counter push goes. Just set down the Fisher maybe for the Lich, just get one Frost Blast in as well, but other than that, not too much, although they could just go pick fights then. And one pretty peculiar thing about this draft is that the Shadow Shaman hasn't been touched at all.
Yeah, that's weird. I was actually thinking about that for both teams, but they kind of have their supports. I'm actually wondering, do we see like an offlane Brewmaster and a Pugna pick up mid? Like the how kind of help with the counter push? And also the Pugna would be pretty darn annoying for the Skywrath Mage. Well, throw that out the window. We've got ourselves a Huskar. And
I've been waiting for this day.
Are we going to see dual lanes since it's a Lich pickup?
We very well might. We might see like Morphling mid, Earthshaker, Huskar safe lane, Lich Brewmaster off lane, something like that. Or even like a Lich Morphling off lane should be rather fine against Skyraft Gyrocopter probably. Chen, yes, can rotate in as well. Morphling has the waveform though, and Lich should be able to just buy enough time to Morphling for him to get away, even if he gets Ancient sealed up. So, I mean, the possibilities are many for Awake how they want to lane this. But man, this Huskar I'm super pumped.
Right out of left field, this Huskar is. I mean, with the final 2 picks, the Gyrocopter giving MSI a little bit more late game presence. He's still pretty solid in the early stages, though he does provide a lot of burst damage in these earlier fights. But the Huskar as well, a hero that can be very effective in the earlier stages of the game, as long as he has, a few points into Berserker's Blood or his Burning Spear, as well as that Life Break ultimate. So, with that being said, you're excited for the draft. I'm pretty excited to see, how things are going to end, how the laning will go, and we will see that very shortly here. But I suppose, why don't we go ahead and introduce these teams?
Choose your weapon, man. Choose your weapon.
All right. Just awaiting your confirmation. I'll go ahead. I'm already on the Radiant side. I'll go ahead and introduce Awake. Over as the Lich player, we will have Awake's Kinga, and then the Brewmaster, who looks to be in the off lane. It will be Solotic. And playing on the surprise pick Huskar is BSR. Then moving over to the support Earthshaker, we have YO2, or Yo2. And then finally, last but not least, looking to take up that mid lane, it will be Toy on that Morphling.
And for MSI Trick, Faceless Void will be their offlane, BYB playing that. Mid lane taken up by Chotan on the Viper, and they will have just a safe lane, tri-lane. Shenrui playing the Gyrocopter with actually a pretty sick Gyro set. As JYC playing the Chen, and YND will be the Skyraf mage, and actually one important thing is that Awake, Solotic, he wasn't there for the first game, and Boombell from Miftra stood in for him. So Awake, they are actually now here with their full 5-man roster.
Cool, and yeah, man, you aren't kidding about this cool gyrocopter set. I've never actually seen it before, but damn does it look cool. He's got some Dr. Robotnik hair going on or something, like the mad scientist hairdo, if you will. And overall, really cool looking gyrocopter cosmetic. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see how these lanes turn up. It will just be a, I guess, kind of standard lanes. A bit of a dual lane in the mid lane with the Lich. I suppose if you pick up that hero, it's to be expected, especially against the Viper, who's such a strong mid laner. Having the Morphling get a little bit of extra support from the Lich, I'm sure he's not complaining whatsoever about that situation. But the Gyrocopter will be getting some pretty darn easy farm in this top lane with both of the supports in the standard tri-lane helping him out.
Yeah, and actually this mid lane dual lane, Viper, he's probably gonna get some last hits, definitely gonna get a decent amount of XP. But I think it's a pretty nifty choice from Awake to lane how they have. Brewmaster offlane might struggle a little bit, but just staying in XP range, that's all he really needs. Just get level 6, have Primal Split, and ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, the Blink Dagger is great to have Brewmaster at the earliest stages, but it's not like it's the be-all end-all on this hero. He can still do a lot of work even if he doesn't really have too much items, which I guess is one of the reasons why teams do like to run this hero. Kind of in that off lane, not afraid to, you know, really take away some of his farm. He can get it later on anyway, as long as he has that Blink Dagger up at a decent time. He's generally in a good spot anyway. Beyond that, I guess looking at the bottom lane, Faceless Void is really getting into the space of the Earthshaker, and he actually may have the time lock out of here. No, he just uses a Tango, but playing with fire, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, actually mid lane Morphling drops extremely low as well, down to 32 HP. And, I mean, the Satyr Tormentor came out to help there as well, and he can spam the Shockwave 6 times, 125 damage per spam, and of course you can hit 2 heroes as well. So the Chen already helping out, although Chen, he doesn't really work as well as an Enchantress doing so, because he can only dominate 1 creep at a time this early into the game. So he can farm up the jungle at the same time, but he's just been stacking. He already sees a Wild Wing Ripper as well, so if he just continues on stacking, he can just steal the Wild Wing Ripper, use the Tornado to just farm up a huge stack later on and be pretty happy about himself.
As far as last hits are concerned, Gyrocopter is leading the charts up to 17 already and 9 denies, so preventing a lot of experience from coming over to this Brewmaster. Looking over at the Huskar, he is the second highest as far as last hits go, but only up to 13. He is keeping this Faceless Void pretty high and dry as far as last hits are concerned. He does have 6, which is not too bad, but may actually end up dying, forced to time walk away, and the Burning Spears will not be able to finish the job, but they're bringing him down pretty darn low.
Yeah, 1 extra stack of Burning Spears definitely would have done the job, I think. Unfortunately for Huskar, he didn't get it, and like a minute or so ago, Faceless Void actually put a lot of harass onto Huskar himself, just going in with the right clicks. But as Huskar starts leveling up, gets more points into Burning Spear, Faceless Void will just start struggling, but he's already level 4 compared to his counterpart, which is level 3, so as far as offlaners go, he's still doing decent.
And they actually managed to get the kill on the Satar in the mid lane, so nice little bonus creep, considering how annoying that creep's been in the earlier stages. Overall, though, it doesn't seem to be an insanely hectic early stage, or early game. The teams are just kind of concerned on not dying. Chen's getting his farm in the jungle. We're seeing Earthshaker doing a lot of pulling. Nothing, you know, really too crazy or too much to talk about, I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely not at the moment. Although last game, I do believe we got the first plant maybe like 5 minutes in as well, and from there on it just suddenly all-out war. War was declared and everybody answered.
I suppose actually if you look at both teams, a lot of them really need their ultimates to come online. In fact, I'd say that except for the Morphling, the ultimates are pretty damn important for every single one of these heroes.
Oh man, chat, Andre Carreon, he's like, Lich was, I mid fucker morph! You think I asked to go mid first? And so they ended up double mid. It's not a friendly dual lane, they're just competing for farm.
Alright, well regardless, we have a smoke from the Chen as well as Skywrath heading down bottom lane This could actually be bad for the Huskar. We'll probably see the Faceless Void try to bait it out a little bit. Or just pretend like they're not there. Huskar is going to be caught between a rock and a hard places. In comes the Centaur. Can we see the stomp from the creep? Yes, they do get the stun off. Time block for it as well. There's your first blood. Going to BYB, the Faceless Void from MSI. So, not a bad start from them. Meanwhile, mid lane, Viper getting pretty darn low on health. He does survive, but forced to eat up a Tango, and he does look to be working into an early mechanism based on his item selection thus far.
Yeah, it's... Actually, that frees up the Chen to go for something else. Maybe a Medallion of Courage. To allow your team to get that early Roche, for example, as well. Or maybe even Aghanim Scepter to just completely sustain in fights, get a heal, keep everybody alive constantly. Or what do you think, if the mech is going to be built by Viper, what do you think is the best alternative for Chen then?
Well, if the mech will be completed by Viper, then I suppose Chen, I guess he can just straight up, you know, hard support, really focus on getting a lot of items for this hero, but I don't know, I don't really see that happening. Maybe they'll let Skywrath get his mana bits a little bit earlier. He is focusing on just using a lot of smokes at this point, so, I mean, I guess he can just find another way to help out his team, but hold on, top lane, there's going to be an engagement onto the Brewmaster. They get a nice stun, and Kiilstofte with the Rocket Barrage. They get a kill onto the Brewmaster, so now MSI, they're already up 2-0. 6 minutes into the game. I already have to say this is a much better start for them than they had last game, where they were down like 0-8 before having a huge upswing and then just kind of losing it all in the end. We also have the Gyrocopter picking up the Hand of Midas, so he is very happy with his farm and wants to continue down that path.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's so funny that we saw the first blood in this game happening about the same time, and suddenly MSI they're 3-0 ahead as well, like a couple of minutes later. Chotan, he even found himself a haste rune, went bottom, helped out, killed the Huskar. Chronosphere was expended for that as well. But this will also be a Midas for the Faceless Void. And usually, I'm a supporter of, if you're going for one Midas on your team already, you might as well go for more. And late game, I mean, to be honest, I think MSI probably has the late game for the
hold on, the top lane. Going after the Brewmaster, but they have to dive really darn far if they want this kill. They're still going to put a lot of pressure on this tower. And the Centaur Conqueror will end up dying in this engagement. But, okay, so it doesn't look like they want to full-on commit to a fight. But, yeah, what were you saying about the Midas Couchor?
That if you're already going for at least one of Midas on your team, you might as well go for multiple ones. It's just, Faceless Void is also getting one, like you said, Cairo already has it from before. So, they're just banking it on the late game, and to be honest, I do believe their late game is probably even superior, because Huskar at the moment is not getting too much accomplishment farm-wise. Yes, it's decent, but I mean, I just haven't seen a Huskar, so I actually find it hard for me to evaluate his late game potential to its fullest. And Morphling, it's just a threat of a Chronosphere overall that can completely wreck late game as well.
That's true, and there's let's not forget the silence from Skywrath. That Ancient Seal will kind of lock that Morphling. You won't be able to use the Morph Toggle, which is a pretty big part of Morphling's ability to survive in a lot of engagements and kind of get out of sticky situations. So the Skywrath Mage definitely being a pick here that will help out against him in that situation.
But bottom lane, BYB, he wanted to go on Huskar, he still might go. Viper's coming as well. Yes, the time walk comes out. Viper's
okay, we should see. They, you know what? I don't think they even need it. They get a bash onto the Huskar. He can't even do anything. I would have liked to see a life break, but nothing can really come to much of that. So another kill going to MSI, up 4-0 now. The top tower looks to fall quite soon in their favor. They are everything that they need to do. They're accomplishing. Normally, I would have to say I'm not a huge fan of the Midas on the offlane Faceless Void, but I mean, his farm's actually pretty darn good for an offlaner, and he's up 2-0 with a single assist, so I guess I do like the Faceless Void in the offlane to get his items a little bit quicker, help contribute to team fights a little bit more and focus less on farming, but I suppose in this situation it's going to be absolutely fine. 2 GPs coming in, they're trying to teleport away. Can they actually get him away in time? No! The Gyrocopter falls, finally awake, getting a single kill on the board. This Brewmaster low on health though, he does have a salve, so he should be just peachy. But they actually are able for the first time to kind of scare away MSI and punish them for being a little bit too aggressive. Let's not forget to mention that this Earthshaker had a pretty darn solid fissure that helped out a lot in making sure that the kill went off on that gyrocopter.
It was a really good Fisher. He got past it with 2 tangos, so really nice and just small, quick thinking by him. But oh, mid lane Showdown might be in trouble. Wait for with the frost possible. Couple right clicks, even the chain frost expanded for that. One more right click.
One more.
Oh,
Using
yes,
the armor.
Lich.
The Lich gets it, man. Just a little bit more range. The slow was a little bit too much to handle. And now in bottom lane, check it out. Oh, very smart using the Chronosphere now. Ultimate as well from the Gyrocopter. That burst damage is just... You can't deal with it, man. They absolutely demolish that Panda in a matter of seconds. They get the tier 1 at the bottom as well. MSI, they bounce right back. And they're looking very darn strong. Meanwhile, mid lane... Well, I guess they end up losing the Skywrath the Mage, so a little bit of a bonus for Awake in the mid lane. Once again, this Earthshaker helping out in these kills, and Wolfing's actually up 2-0 as far as his kills are concerned. So this guy will be coming online a little bit sooner than normal. And I mean, if there's a hero that's really good at just hard carrying a team without too much other people helping him out, it definitely is the Morphling.
Yeah, he definitely can do it if he gets to that stage. At the moment though, looking at the net worth, the Gyrocopter as well as the Faceless Void, they are both number 1 of course. They also have a Hand of Midas running, so at the moment at least, until they get that next bigger item, the Hand of Midas is just 2k gold into net worth, which in theory you can think that Morphling has the better of. But just getting the XP from that Midas already, I mean Faceless Void, who was an offlane, he's already level 10.5. So just we'll get that lower cooldown on Chronosphere soon enough, and he's going for the Aghanim Scepter as well, so once the 60-second cooldown, and with the Gyrocopter's cooldown also being 45 seconds on the last level, 55 on the first.
Oh, they're going on the Panda, but he does get to use his Primal Split off in time. That being said, it doesn't look like the Faceless Void Skywrath combo actually planned on initiating onto the Panda, so he wastes an ultimate pretty much for nothing.
Yeah, but they were still kind of camping for him, waiting for him to overextend a little bit. 3 heroes were there, even Shotan making his way in. Actually 12 minutes in. He has a mech at least. I mean, he didn't get any crazy farm mid lane, but being up against the dual lane, the Viper has done really well so far and finds himself yet another haste rune.
Yeah, let's see if he can make something happen with this haste rune. He will head towards... No, wait, teleporting to the top. There's a few pings going on. We could see a bit of engagement. That's 3 heroes. Oh, actually Viper. He's going to use the Viper Strike. He's just going ham on this Lich. Excellent fissure, though, from the Earthshaker. Keeps this Viper completely out of range, unable to do anything else. So a TP and kind of, I guess, wasted time. Maybe we'll see them go onto the mid lane, though. Uh-oh, this Morphling, he's silenced up. He'll be able to do a little bit of morphing if he wants to. He actually goes forward, realizing that it's just time to YOLO, but on top of the Skywrath Mystic Flare, there's really no escape for the Morphling.
Yeah, the Skywrath so close to dying there, one more right click. But he completely manned up. The Mystic Flare was just perfect once the waveform ended. Completely baited there, calculated from the Skywrath Mage, and they're gonna get the last tier 1 from this. They're just getting so far ahead. Looking at the gold, it's already 7,500 in their favor. XP, a solid 4.5 as well almost.
It feels like MSI, they were kind of getting dominated last game, and it's really switched around this game. It feels like MSI just, they have so much control over the map, control over these team fights. It really is this Earthshaker, Awake's YO2 or Yo2. I feel like this is the only reason why Awake's really been able to actually make anything happen this game whatsoever. But I mean, we talked a little bit earlier, Couchor, about the double Midas being picked up by the Faceless Void and Gyrocopter. These are going to start paying off pretty soon, and once they do, it's just... There's going to be a huge level advantage that this Lich can't really help out too much with. Top lane, though, they get the fissure, and then a jump from the Huskar onto the Gyro. He gets his ultimate off. Will it be enough to actually finish off the Huskar? No. Wait a second, though. In comes the Faceless Void. He gets a single kill. Can he get the double onto the Lich? A few good bashes. The last hit, it's enough. Double kill for BYB. They trade the Gyrocopter, but get 2. I'm sure that's a trade that I would be happy with, especially if I was the Faceless Void, who is now only about 600 gold away from completing his Aghanim Scepter, which will be done like before the 16-17 minute mark. That's actually insane.
Yeah, he's number 1 in net worth as well. That is insane. I mean, to be honest, like you said, it's insane. The best word to describe it for me. And with this, they can just set up fights so damn often. Mystic Flare has a low cooldown, Cooldown has a low cooldown, Viper Strike as well. So their lineup is really well built around that, and they're just complementing it with the item choices. And oh, we see a take on 1 as well on Chen.
Ooh. You know what? That actually can combine pretty darn well with the Ancient Seal. I'm going to say I wasn't really expecting that from the Chen. Let's see, he went ahead and got it, and that will be it'll be the Dagon damage and then like plus 35%, so it's almost like the Dagon's doing like a pure 400 damage if that Ancient Seal is on the enemy target. And now MSI, they moved into the Roshan pit. Looks like they want to get an early Aegis. They have a pretty darn good team to handle that as far as the Chen creeps are concerned, so I mean, they don't even have Faceless Void with them. He is just farming away in his own jungle. Pretty darn close. He actually just finished up his Agnum Scepter that's being sent to him. The Aegis will go to the Viper. Lots of extra global gold on their side. And MSI, they've completely taken control of this game.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's gonna be even harder for Awake to come back because look at what Morphling is going for. He's building a BKB, so that means he's not gonna get to the stage where he can just go bam, shotgun, 1 hero down. Now the team fight is 5-4. Just BKB, yes, he can maybe survive, but he still might even get caught before he gets to activate the BKB in the chrono. And if that happens, just anybody who gets caught in the chrono, I feel like is gonna die.
Just looking at MSI's lineup, they have so much hard lockdown and spells that are just difficult in general to deal with. Things that can go through BKB that it's like, this Morphling, man, maybe you just go straight up for damage. He's getting kind of, you know, the more defensive items, which we certainly saw Awake do earlier on. Well, actually, Faceless Void. Is he going to go ahead and go for a jump onto the Morphling? Yes, he does. He uses the Chronosphere, and then in comes the Dagon Chen. It looks like it's enough damage. There will be a jump onto the Chen ultimate as well from the Lich. Hand of God helping out a little bit, and then ultimate from the Skywrath. It's not enough. Wait! Yes, it is, with the help from other allies TPing, and this is turning into a disaster from Awake. 3-for-1 trade. The Morphling, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but wait, the Panda, he's coming in, he's getting a 2-for-1 trade. Or I guess a 3-for-2 trade. But the problem is, this guy, well, he's blinked away. Maybe he'll actually get away. He doesn't have any mana, though. He can't TP away.
He's still juking it around. Oh, they thought he escaped.
The jukes. The jukes. Wow.
Oh, man. And actually,
okay.
When he came out of the ultimate form, he had that immediate dodge from the Drunken Brawler on him. And Faceless Void actually, without the dodge, he would have gotten the right click, so disabling the blink. But that dodge just saved his life once the ultimate ended. Still though, well, now he got enough mana, going for the TP out, and man, that juke as well. Although, all in all, MSI, they lose only 2 supports and just get so much in return.
Yeah, that was certainly a very favorable trade for MSI. It was kind of funny seeing the Chen just like, he teleports in and just like shoots the Dagon onto the Morphling who's like just trying to survive. He is back alive though, farming up into the mid lane. Meanwhile, top lane, there's another Chronosphere. I mean, this Faceless Void, he does have the Agnum Scepter. We're seeing it get used. It's a 60-second cooldown with the Scepter. It doesn't matter what level Chronosphere is at, it's still just going to be 60 no matter what. So really, this Void, man, it's basically 100% uptime on the Chrono in any team fight. And he's going to start working into some DPS items at this point, getting a Maelstrom from the look of things. And, man, this Void, 6-0-4, he's a happy camper.
Yeah, they're gonna go for more.
Oh, whoa.
Yo,
Oh, okay. Viper, I think he just wanted to extend his, I guess, Aegis and go ahead and use it. Meanwhile, the tower gets killed. They're going to go onto the Morphling who just essentially evaporates into thin air. They're trying to take down this Chen, but it's just not enough. The Brewmaster falls. 3 members dead on Awake. MSI are they're trampling over the opposition. Faceless Void's Chronosphere is available once again, but they don't have any mana boots on cooldown to really give them the mana for that. But soon, 15 seconds, Skywrath will give that mana to Faceless Void, and we will see another Chronosphere, another team fight looking to start up for MSI. This early Agnum Scepter, man, has just proven to be a huge boon to MSI's teamfight potential.
Yeah, I have to say that this Faceless Void is one of the best Faceless Void I have seen in a long time. I mean, usually it's just they're off lane, the Chronospheres are kind of lackluster and whatnot, but they're just using it on cooldown every single time. They set up a kill perfectly with it as well, and they want more. Can they get the Chrono?
Oh, they get him! Just barely in the range. And the Gyrocopter will go ahead and use his ultimate. Is it enough to finish off the Husker? It looks like it should be just enough, though. Armlet talking. Oh, he tries to use the life break. He gets bashed just as he tries to jump towards the Gyrocopter. And that's the death onto the Huskar. 6-16, just under 20 minutes into the match. Oh man, the salt is definitely going to be felt by that Huskar.
Yeah, and actually one thing I just now remembered with the time lock as well, which was about the fight that happened at the tier 1 top, the tire tier 1, was that Faceless Void, he time walked into the Morphling. He didn't pop the Chrono straight away because he was afraid that he's either gonna waveform out before the Chrono comes out or just replicate out. So actually right click, got the time lock and then pop the Chrono to make sure that replicate won't go out. So just those small things as well that MSI is doing to just secure game number 2.
A very technical play from the Void. I'm loving it, man. I'm a big fan of the hero, and I'm an even bigger fan of people that can use the hero in such an efficient way. It looks like it's come to the point where MSI want to push up to the tier 3, and they have a pretty darn solid advantage. They're not too afraid of anything really stopping them from pushing up to the high ground, and I mean, Awake, they have people on the other side of the map. They need to actually hightail it back. They do have the fortification, just was used. Okay, there's the Panda ultimate as well. We'll see Gyrocopter throw down the ultimate, not really accomplishing too much. They're trying to take down the supports on MSI's end, but there's your Chrono. It's a nice double Chrono, and then ultimate absolutely destroying that Earthshaker. They get the Huskar behind that, which he throws out the ultimate, but will be finished off by this Faceless Void with that newly finished Maelstrom. A little bit of time being bought for the Morphling, but whoa, Awake just, they preemptively call the GG, and the Huskar disconnects. I think that they were not happy whatsoever after that game.
They definitely weren't, and I mean, you said it at the start of this draft as well. The MSI, they didn't play like super bad or anything in game number 1, and they just prove it that if they just get their satisfactory lineup, get the ball rolling, they just completely dominate, and that's exactly what they did here.
It was a day and night difference between game 1 and game 2 as far as I guess the results go, because MSI, I mean, they weren't bad, but it felt like they played really good this game, especially BYB on that Faceless Void. He is hands down the MVP. Gyrocopter doing a lot of good work as well, and still props to the Viper for, you know, he had to deal with a really annoying mid lane. He still was able to put up a decent fight there, so it looks like it ends up being a 1-1 tie in the best of 2 between Awake and MSI. Good games all around, though. Definitely some solid play from both teams in each respective game.
Indeed, and we'll see how well either of those teams can do in the next matches, because both of them, I do believe, will play one more match against G7 today. So we do have 2 more 2-game series, best of 2s, however you will, coming up, and the next one actually should start in about 14 minutes time. The lobby for it is already up as well, so we're just going to jump into that. But guys, until then, I do hope you just enjoyed and will stay with us for the other games as well. And even if not, be sure to follow us to actually know when we're going live tomorrow and, well, any other day as well, because we're casting just daily, at least 1 game almost every day, usually more even. So definitely worth to just follow us on Twitch as well as our social media to know when we're going live. HeflaTV for Facebook and Twitter. So, and of course, be sure to check out myself personally at Twitter @Coucher and my co-caster @Whiplash.
Yep, you can also find me on facebook.com/WhiplashEsports if you're not a fan of Twitter. Follow me on there. I also post information whenever I'm going live as far as casting is concerned. And yeah, like Coucher said, we're going to be moving into the next match momentarily, so don't go anywhere, stick with us, and we'll have some more Dota action for you coming in the future.